Howdy everyone, welcome to HexHunter. I'm Mokog, and today we're doing another Hexonomics, and we are going to be covering platinum today. We're going to take a look at where platinum comes from, how platinum's spent, and we'll spend a little bit of time talking a little bit more in depth about the platinum to gold ratio and kind of what that means and what can be done with it. So let's go ahead and dive right into the very beginning. Where does plat come from? Now the obvious answer is plat comes from the store. There's this beautiful buy platinum button over here, and depending on your client, it will either take you to the Steam page for being able to put real money into the game, or it will take you to the Gameforge client for being able to spend your very real money and bring that into the game. So the thing to note here is that all platinum comes from in-game real currency purchases, and that puts a backing behind platinum that is very close to what an actual currency value is. Now, depending on where you are around the world, depends on how much value and how much currency you're putting in from your economy into the hex economy, but platinum is essentially money. And that's why a lot of the times you'll have people play fast and loose with the idea of, oh, a card costs $1.50, oh, a card costs $6. Well, what they're really saying is it costs 150 plat, or it's costing 600 plat. And when someone sees something that runs into the thousands of platinum on the auction house, they're like, why on earth would you pay $30 for this card? Why on earth would you pay $60 for this card? And that's the thing to keep in mind. It's very easy to convert a lot of this into dollars because it's very easy to equate a single platinum to a penny, just because it's within the hundreds denotation in many cases once your currency converts into platinum. But the biggest thing to remember, platinum is money in this case. Now, the big difference is platinum never leaves the economy through a player's means. Players can only put money into the economy, and then certain amounts of it are used up, and then that's actually where plat is spent. So the majority of plat can be spent here in the store. So you have our 4 different types of booster packs for each of our sets, as well as the racial starter decks that are available, and as well as the VIP program. Now, the VIP program is special. It can only be purchased with currency. You cannot use platinum for the VIP program. That is done through sales outside of platinum. But this is where you would go down to actually start your VIP membership. Great program, but not what we're talking about today. Now, for what we spend platinum on, these initial racial starter decks are pretty good. But their real value is if you're not super familiar with deck building, to give you a basis to build a deck from there. And if you ever want to look and see what's in a starter deck, there's a little eye icon right here. This brings you to a field to where you can see every single card in the deck. Now, these are pre-constructed decks. You'll see the shards, so you can count the shards of each side. And then you'll see all of the cards. Always be sure that you look above and below the shards, because sometimes the way the cards get sorted, you won't see them all. So if we take a look here in the shin'hare starter deck, we'd want to look at the rares. So here are our 3 rares: the Mushwaki, Wretched Brood, and Onslaught. These are all rares from the very first set, Shards of Fate. The Mushwaki is a fun card, and you can zoom in and check out all of these. And each of the starter decks, they have their own bit of flair and flavor to them. They're not necessarily the greatest advantage for value, so to speak, because many of these cards, you could take the same 500 platinum and then buy those cards on the auction house generally fairly cheap, with limited exceptions. But in general, these are not a bad place to start for people who want some assistance with deck building. That's really what you're paying for with that 500 plat. Now, your booster packs, on the other hand, there's a lot of good arguments that spending your platinum here is better to be done on the auction house. When you're buying a pack from the store, though, that is a chance to also get a Primal Pack, and that's actually really significant. It appears that the Primal Pack proc chance, and say that 10 times fast, is about 2% for every pack that you purchase. So if you are going to be purchasing into the game and you want to put in a fairly large sum of platinum to start off with, like the idea is if you were going to go down to the local card shop and buy a booster box, if you're going to do that, it's probably not a bad idea to get your initial packs from the store. because the idea being is that you'll get the God Pack, the Primal Pack, which comes with for that set. And it's not just a Primal Pack or cross sets. I mean, each different set is going to have its own Primal Pack, but they all have that same 2% proc rate. So if you're going to come in and you're going to, let's say, buy 50 packs of Primal Dawn, that's a pretty good chance you might end up with 1 or 2 Primals, unless, of course, you're very unlucky, and then you might not necessarily wind up with it. It's still a chance. It's not guaranteed. But if you're going to be buying large sums of packs when you first get into the game, the store is a really good place to get those, because a lot of the times you will get a Primal Pack. Now, you will see that Primal Packs are not sold here on the storefront. The only place that you could get a Primal Pack is actually in the auction house. And this is another good place to where if you're wanting to complete out a collection, or if you want a guaranteed chance at a legendary card, Primal Packs can only really be purchased from other players who have procced them themselves. And so if you wanted to find what Primal Dawn packs were going for, a really good way would just to be to put in Primal in your search bar, select your set, hit your search button. Oh, well, that doesn't necessarily work for Primal Dawn, but it'll work for your other sets there. So when it comes for your Primal Dawn packs, you might have to put in Primal Dawn Primal. There we go. And so now we have the listing of how much Primal Dawn packs are selling for, and we have a couple pages of those. And as we see, Primal Dawn packs themselves actually sell for about anywhere from $18 to $20, or roughly 1,800 to 2,000 platinum, depending on what we see here. So the idea set of value is you're going to come in and buy a booster box or 2 equivalent when you're first getting into the game. A Primal Pack can help you recoup some of that if you sell on the auction house, or if you're wanting to complete your collection, the Primal Pack will help get you there a little bit further. It's a very good option for new players getting into open Primal Packs, and it's very good for returning players or players with complete collections to sell the Primal Packs, to give everyone an option to purchase those. The other note is that every Primal Pack comes with a legendary chest. In addition to that, it's guaranteed to be a legendary chest. So you'll wind up with 13 rares and 2 legendary cards out of that. So the next big place that you're going to be putting a lot of platinum is actually going to be in where your auction house fees are coming in. And this is significant because the auction house fees 5% on completed sales. So when you would actually sell your Primal Pack, you're actually going to get 95% of what your sell value is. So if we wanted to calculate this up, if this person sold the 2,000 platinum Primal Pack here, they're only going to be getting a total of 95% of that. And that's because of the auction house cut. And so they would actually just receive 1,900 plat for that sale. That other 100 plat leaves the economy from the auction house. We don't normally see this on small types of purchases, but it is very significant when you start getting into larger purchases, especially some of those highly coveted cards from the Wheel of Fate are very much affected by this. So it is a transactional cost. We really can't get away from it, but it's one of those things that you'll want to consider if you're making any calculations. Now, the last thing that we want to cover about where platinum goes, and where a lot of folks' platinum goes, is actually in tournaments. So tournaments are located here under the battlegrounds, under the player versus player. Now, tournaments themselves generally have a 100 platinum entry fee plus booster packs in the cases of limited, but in constructed, they will have generally a 300 platinum entry fee. So if we wanted to take a look at the constructed gauntlet and we wanted to join that queue, we would pick a deck. Well, we'd pick our terrible chant deck that we have here. And in this case, to get the gauntlet version, it's 500. And we don't want to particularly spend 500 today. And so, in many cases, it'll be 300. But in the constructed, it may be up to 500 now. Let's go ahead and double check the... So there's a scheduled constructed here. Here's a very good example to use. So participating in each constructed event is going to cost you $500. So it's $5 to participate in a constructed event. This is one of the things that may disincentivize a lot of new players from participating. You think, wow, there's a lot of things I can do with 500 platinum. But once you've got your constructed deck together, the rewards from these can actually be pretty good. So if we take the sealed constructed, whenever those fire, if you end up winning 2 matches, you're walking away with 3 booster packs. That has a great value for that. You paid 5, you won 2 matches, so essentially you won 4 games. You're walking away with 3 booster packs. You only paid 500 platinum. You technically got a discount on your booster packs. 3, even better value. 4, maximum value there. You did really well, and that's why a lot of folks, like, once they get enough of their collection together to make a constructed deck, will make those constructed decks, because getting those 4 match wins, getting through even constructed gauntlet, you get your 5 match wins, you're walking away with 6 booster packs. You're essentially then paying less than $1 a pack for your 5 match wins. You then take those booster packs, you sell them on the auction house. You'll get more than 100 plat per booster pack. You take that, you reinvest it going into constructed. And a lot of folks, once they've gotten very good at participating in game, utilize that method to keep going constructed to constructed event. And that's one of the reasons why we have so many great constructed decks on Hex Meta, is for people running through and doing this cycle. So now the other thing we like to cover this time is we want to talk a little bit about the platinum to gold ratio and how that is perceived from a platinum purchaser's perspective. So the biggest thing that a platinum purchaser is going to be generally participating in is PvP. They'll be doing PvP constructed, PvE limited, and they wind up with an awful lot of chests. So when you open up a lot of packs, you wind up with a lot of chests, and they seem really cool. But when you get down to it and you want to take a look at what's going on with your chests, the chests allow you to get items from the Wheel of Fate spin. Now, common chests and uncommon chests do not actually give you an opportunity to upgrade into a primal chest, which is the granddaddy awesomeness of chests. But you want to be able to roll these chests so that you can get really cool items. But if you don't have enough gold, you can't actually roll the chest. And people will look at this a common chest and be like, well, it's really worth rolling on the Wheel of Fate. I need gold for that. But you don't get gold for participating in PvP events, only in participating in PvE. So what this does is it incentivizes platinum purchasers a willingness to trade PvP types of material, such as chests or cards or packs, for PvE gold. And this creates the platinum to gold ratio. How much real money currency are people willing to get for the gold currency? And that's really, it's because it's saving them time. They enjoy the thrill of the player versus player fight, and so they will give up some of their winnings to make sure that they can focus more on what they enjoy most about the game. And this is what allows our free players a chance to rise up from just being a free player and really participate in the player versus player side of the game. So making sure you understand the great ways that you can exchange the hard-earned gold you get from the campaign and from the arena for things that the platinum players are earning and working towards themselves will really help facilitate your ability to get in and participate in the constructed and limited environments as well. So this has been a fairly broad overview, a very hopefully high-level look at where platinum comes from, where our platinum goes when we spend it, a few ways to spend it a little bit more efficiently, some understanding of where platinum goes once we start doing our auction house transactions, and another look at why that platinum to gold ratio actually occurs. So we're going to be jumping here into the Q&A in just a few moments. I want to go ahead and thank all of y'all for watching this edition of Hexonomics. Please go ahead and hit that follow button or subscribe button or the like button, depending on where you're catching this. If you want to participate in the Q&A, don't hesitate to go ahead and show up here on Thursdays for the stream. We generally do that at 8 p.m. Central. Today we did it a little bit early. But as always, I'm Mokog. This is HexHunter. Let's do some Q&A. And now I can talk